Hi everyone, welcome to another video today, and let's start off with our quote of the day. So it's going to be Proverbs chapter 1 verse 7. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. Okay, so that's our quote of the day, and just want to let you know this is the 11th, so completing a full month of videos. So at least that's my milestone of putting a month of videos on YouTube every single day. So, and thank you for all who subscribed and liked. Much appreciated. Alright, so the topic of the day will be modifying objects with ForEach-Object. So let's get started. Okay, so what this is about, the ForEach-Object, I think we used we used the ForEach commandlet like in a few videos back. So this one we're using, this one is a ForEach-Object, so this is just dedicated for the objects, and it's a commandlet, so it's used to iterate over a collection of objects, and you can apply it to like a script block or to each object. So this allows you to, like, if you want to modify properties, or you want to perform actions, or even if you want to create like new objects, based on the original data it has. That's how useful it can be. So let's kind of go over a little bit of the syntax, and so we could just get a example going here. So okay, so we use the get process. So let me get rid of this. And then we're going to do a select object. Alright, and then so we choose maybe about 3 columns from here. So name, ID, and maybe CPU. Okay, so we want to select these particular columns of data from the get process. So if you watch the previous videos, it'll output just these 3 columns of data, and I can show it to you here. Let me just fix this quickly. It's just to restart the session. Okay, so as you can see, it came up with 3 columns here. So I know it's kind of going really fast. Oops. So if you look up here, you have the name, ID, and CPU. So that's what we got back. So I just wanted to show you that. And what we're going to do is, in this example, we are going to modify, the properties of an object, of these objects. So let's say we have a list of objects, from the processes, and if you want to modify one of the properties, so let's do that. So we'll just call this modified. So we're creating a variable there, and then we're going to take the processes variable. Oops, well, I forgot to declare. So how I'm using this is, I was going to declare it up here. I thought I did before, my bad. So it won't get confusing. So we're creating a variable called processes, and then we're assigning it to this statement here, which will kind of store the processes of the output of this, this is what the output would look like. We're storing it in this processes variable, and now, since as you can see, kind of shows up as like a list. So this is where we're gonna use the ForEach-Object to go through each of these rows. So that's how you're gonna see it used. And pretty much it's the same way how you would, you put it in the block, what the logic is gonna be. So remember the $, it's whatever the current line or row is, that data from there. And then we want to pick the property. Well, so we're picking the value from that CPU column. So be equal and we're just going to do a little calculation here. And if you're if you're wondering what this is doing, so this is going to increase the CPU usage by 10%. So it's going to take the current CPU usage and just increase it by 10%. Alright, and then outside of the for each loop, so that's outside of this curly brackets here, we are going to put the modified processes. So once it finishes all that, then you should see the new listing with the updated CPU. Alright, so let's run this and see what we get. Alright, so let's go back to the top here. Okay, so I just ran it. I think so. Let me just clear the terminal here. See, with this, it always kind of gives you a little bit of somehow it holds the previous results as well. So I just cleared the terminal. So let's run it again. And let's see how this works. Oops, I forgot to put my modify processes out here. Okay, so that will help display it. Alright, let me just scroll up to the top here. So we have, okay, so we have 120, 3125, and if you look at the previous results, as you can see, it changed the properties of the CPU. Alright, so that's one way of doing it. So with that example that we showed, that shows you how to modify properties of the objects. So second example will be we're going to add a new property to the objects. All right, so let's see if we can do that. So what I'll do is I will actually I'll try to use the same example here, but we'll just modify it a little more. Actually, let's just use the same CPU and then we could create it into a modified field, right? Maybe that could be something we could do. Alright, so we're going to, okay, and then it will, alright, so let's type it out here, add member. Then you're going to define the member type parameter, and that'll be node property. Oops, yeah, there you go. And then this name you're going to define, this will be kind of like the name of the new, let's say the new column that you want to put there. So that would be so let's just say maybe modified CPU. Alright, and then I'll put that in quotes. And then we need to define the value. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to take the calculation from here, which will add 10%. And this is from our old code. So we can remove these pieces here. And then we've got to define it above here because I want to put it in the value field there. So we'll define to a variable called val, and that'll be the calculation of the CPU that we wanted to show up in this extra column, and we'll call it val here. Okay, and I believe that's it. So let's see if this will work. Alright, so it's still running. Maybe I think maybe I'm supposed to define the $sign. Yeah, I think that's what I had to do. So let me try that again. Alright, so let's scroll up to our top. There you go. So we got the modified CPU. Oops, no, that's the old result. So let me clear out all this to show you that it actually worked. Don't know why this happened here. I'm just trying to clear the terminal. Alright, there we go. So let's try it one more time. There you go. So you could see it created the name, the ID, the CPU, then our modified CPU, and you can see the calculations changed as well. Alright, so that's pretty much it. So there's other ways you could use this for each object. I won't go through all the examples. So let's close this off. So this will be, well, let me just go over what we did. So we kind of we did some calculations on how we use the for each object. So it'll loop through the objects that you want, and then you could even modify the outputs of them. You could do your calculations or update values. So that way, if you need to kind of, if you needed to get a printout or some sort of output values to a file, this is how you could do it. And that way you could have your objects and the properties show up correctly the way you want it to as well. Okay, so don't forget to like and subscribe, and let's go over our quote of the day in closing. Okay, so it's going to be Proverbs chapter 1 verse 7. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but the fools despise wisdom and instruction. Alright, and don't forget to read your Bible, and if you're not going to church, try to find a good Bible-based church, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.